There we go. May as well start things a bit early, 5 minutes early, just to get things settled. And now we have already a few people watching. Hello. Hello and welcome to the stream. This is yet another weekly Resonite Art Team Office Hour stream. I'm Aegis Wolf. Definitely place here to ask questions in chat. Anything about, well, Resonite or the art team or using Resonite to build things. Things like that. I don't mind also questions for things about Blender, Subsys Painter, a few other things like that. There's also a few new interesting features that recently came out today out of pre-release that I'll definitely showcase on the stream as well too for a bit. And don't mind my voice, I'm still kind of recovering from some kind of virus or something over the weekend, but I'm definitely feeling much better since then. Hello, welcome to the stream, Tom Tam, and Luminera and Autumn Blessings. If you want to ask questions for anyone tuning in, just simply type in chat and end it with a question mark, and it will be marked as a question on the chat right here. Yeah. Well, let's see here. I know this week we're going to be doing a couple of fixes to the Cloud Home, which is kind of why I wanted to do it and do the stream in this world as like a reminder to myself. We're almost gonna, or we were going to do it, got sick, and one of our team members, Ravy, just got internet, so be doing quite a few things now. I know I'm going to be working on a badge design as well too. Actually, a couple. Gotta get used to using Inkscape again. Just like a free and open source graphics kind of program and such. My headset is really. There we go. uh, yeah. One thing I want to know in the future is like a way for users to choose like what kind of cloud home they want to use. Say if they don't want specifically this cloud home, they want something lighter or something in a completely different art style. They could do that too. Not necessarily adding all the tutorial elements in their cloud home, but have the cloud home be like you have several presets that you can choose from, and allows us to be creative too. And have like crazy looking ones to like just more modern grounded art styles to more polished version of this. Yeah. Now, usually every week I go through and like after the stream I create a forum post for those to ask questions ahead of time. So I think I'll make sure to make a ping every time I do make one. I think I did, but I don't see any questions for this week. But I will double check. Nope, not this week, but I will create a new one right after the stream. Cause, yeah, I did upload the previous office hours to YouTube right now. Actually, yesterday, but yeah, it is up there now. and as well as this one will be on YouTube as well too. Now, although some of the regards to the features I've been wanting to show, some of them, as Fruks kind of listed out in the update notes, are dealing with things like Resonite Link. I can't really, showcase that on my own. I would require some tinkering on my end to learn how that stuff works. But there's a new feature that Raivy has been working on, another person on the art team who's also an engineer. Also, welcome to the stream, Backflyer. And yeah, you need to use a dev tool for this in order to access it. But it is something incredibly useful for users setting up things in Resonite when it comes to textures. Sometimes you might bring in a texture that is not authored in the shaders that we use right now, or materials shaders, and there's some things you can do to images to adjust them, but I'm going to bring in actually a few textures here. Actually, where's a good example? I should have gotten a good example before this, but be good to kind of take a... Ooh. Okay. I will take a texture, for example, off of this thingy. This space pistol, Stargate that I modeled. If you know, you know. So I'm going to take out one of the textures here and go into first person. If I can find my menu. There we go. Affinity? I heard of Affinity Photo. Yes, that is Ronin's gun. Took me a while to model that one, as I was going off of the concept art. And I'm right now looking at its metallic map. So, kind of give a brief explanation of what a metallic map is. It has multiple textures under it, kind of layered in it. But right now there's only two. And each texture in a in a computer, at least with how modern day stuff is set up, you got 4 channels: R, G, B, and A. So you got alpha, blue, green, and red. And those are the different colors. Most images will just use those 3. The alpha is like a transparency. If you ever seen a cutout image, or even the edges of that UI panel, it uses alpha. And with this, there's some semi-transparency going on right here too, where some parts are more transparent than others. Now, to kind of break down what this shader uses briefly, it uses the red channel or metallic. So it's think of each one of these as a black and white image all stacked on top of each other. Now, the red image right here is just a metallic. Whatever parts of it is colored, with white, is metallic. Whatever isn't is non-metallic. And you can have like values in between too. Now, as for what the green channel can be used for, it's more or less like a uh, thing that you can use either for an occlusion map, which we can actually use this as an example. What an occlusion map is, it's the baked ambient shadows of a model. So I am, or of a material. Where did my tool go? Oh, I almost lost my dev tool. All right. Actually, I needed it to deselect it. All right. I'm gonna clear this, kind of toggle it on and off, and you'll see the areas of shadow that is being shown here being highlighted or unhighlighted. So that's what this does. Now, with the metallic map, you can either have a height map, which is kind of like a displacement map to make things look 3D when they aren't, or a occlusion map in the green channel. But it is unused if it's in a metallic map. But the reason that's the case is you can take the same metallic map, put it as the occlusion map or height map, and therefore you're using one less texture on your like material. So that kind of saves you on some resources there. And a lot of games have these packed textures like crazy. And sometimes it's even more complicated than even just, red, green, blue, and alpha. Like there's sometimes and even a fifth one that uses like a certain uh, like an on or off, like completely black or completely white. And what it does, it takes two shades of a specific type of gray, and then using that, because color values and code is just numbers and values, using that, you can make another texture on it, even possibly more too, which is insane. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be using this stuff for packed textures. Now, usually you would be able to change some texture stuff by open the. Actually, this is already open right here. So, messing around with images in here can simply just change things like invert the color. Oh, I forgot these are AK images. This is like the high definition before I baked it down. It's render quality. Wonderful. I just did it. Is it still doing the calculation? Well, I'm gonna just compact this under 1K. Do I have to get another example that is not 8K? I'm gonna have to get another example that is not 8K. Okay, let's see. Jeez. Uh, shoot. All right. Well, while that does its thing, let's do create new with the dev tool. We go to editor. We have two things here going on that is new. Texture packing wizard and texture unpacking wizard. And it has a fancy new UI. It is very straightforward here. So I'm going to also bring out the other one as well. Editor, unpacking wizard. And this was even more simpler. Alright, that's been shrunk down to 1K, and I'm guessing this one is the metallic map, or one of the other two. It's a metallic map. Shrink that down. There we go. And we got both of these, 1K, so it should be quick to adjust things here. And to kind of showcase what I was doing earlier, I'm going to just bring out the reference of this. But yeah, you can use this inspector right here to change the different aspects of an image quite easily. Changing the values, the gamma, saturation, etc. With this, for example, I just darkened the shadow by changing the gamma. Yeah. So let's take this image in particular and actually break it down to what it has. And it tells you what channels are being used. It pops out the textures just like that. Now you can see the alpha channel and the red channel. This is the smoothness, and this is the metallic. Smoothness just determines how shiny something is, or dull, or rough. Usually it's the opposite in other programs, but in order to kind of change it, you simply have to do one thing to change it from a roughness map to the smoothness, which is just invert its color. Now it's a roughness map. Now it's back to a smoothness map. This kind of wizard is pretty good to also fix normal map issues as well too, because we're using OpenGL standard normal maps, which if you have DirectX normal maps, you just simply invert the green channel. And there's some other ways to do it, but a lot of this is also documented on the wiki. So these wizards are brand new, so not these yet. That is why I'm making a little demo on this here. I will get to your questions in a bit once I'm done with the demo here. Now that's the texture unpacking wizard. And even shows you the resolution too. So I'm going to place this here. Actually, that alpha, and then let's take this and put it under the green channel. And it even generates bitmaps, resolution override, use small, default value. Oh yeah, if you don't have an image there, you can just have a value just from 0 to 1, black to white, which is just like, yeah. You can also invert the colors as well too, right in the wizard as well. So I'm going to pack it. Now it's more colorful. Now this is really what it would look like if it was packed with the green channel. Blue channel is usually unused right now. Though I'd think in the future, what's an update to our current shaders for consolidating and such, that would change and be updated too. So I could actually take this, put the metallic map in there, but also use the same texture and put it in there. I can even take this texture, place it in there, unpack it. Right now it's by default showing the green and alpha, or red and alpha. Did not get the red channel. Oh, I see what I did. Okay, you have to set these. So that means I gotta clear this, repack it. Oops, accidentally repacked it again. It's interesting. Looks like there's no alpha, but that one does. I must take a sip of water. I'm gonna have to figure that out. So if these are all set, interesting. Oh, okay. I think I know what's going on here. Set my water bottle back. I do it again. It's kind of strange. Does show the green channel and the alpha channel. Doesn't show the red channel. Is it just a blank texture? It's definitely not a blank texture. So I need to just reapply it. This just came out, so there might be a few bugs. Does look like the red channel is in this texture here. There we go. Yeah, I was being finicky, wasn't it? Oh, I see. Yeah, it's slightly different because I just changed that. Change that back to normal. Okay, so just uses the channels off of those images, which makes sense. If it's a black and white image, then we'll just use the red channel. This is for my understanding so far. Will probably be a better cover on this once actually do get a chance to catch up with Ravy on that. But that is a really cool, really useful device because you would have to go outside of Resonite in order to properly do this for any kind of situation. Things like terrain materials that are called splat materials. So you have different areas on a ground, like part of it's sand, mud, grass, rock, and it would have like different colors for different parts of it, or even a color mask, which actually I think even parts of the parts of these use it. I'm not mistaken, it's been a bit. Oh, it's alert metallic. Okay, this is very similar to a color mask, where like one color is, yeah, one color in a color mask is like one color and the other one is another color. This is just basically a two color color mask, pretty much, but it's like two materials, or BBS lerp metallic or specular. But imagine like different colors like this. You have different parts. Red, green, and blue are all different colors for color mask. So I think this pretty much covers that. We can cover it again once I get more acquainted with it. Yeah. Start answering your questions for a bit. First one is a classic by Gran UK, as usual, the Chnopit. I'm not really sure exactly what to say. Usually, for this one in particular, maybe my, yes, for those unfamiliar, it's kind of like a pet peeve. That's what he's referring to as a question to me. Probably my sickness right now. Trying my hardest not to cough in people's ears. Now, continuing on with questions from Gran UK, here's the second one. I know this is not your department, but I think it might be a good idea to have a Steam beta for the previous version, Resonite, so that events don't run into problems when updates hit. If I recall, I think we used to have like an older version, but I think it was only for like a specific groundbreaking thing, like I think it was the splitting. It was like the time when we had to do that. But yeah, that would be a better question for both Prime and Fuxius on their office hours, though. We have a question from Baplar. What quick. Oh, let me grab that little brush there. General pointers could you give for setting up good lighting in a world? I'm having trouble to get it looking good, in particular for indoors and nighttime lighting. So, there's a few things, of course, a few ways of doing lighting within Resonite. You can have real time or baked. Right now, currently with baked, you have to bake it into emissive lighting or ambient occlusion maps using the various different materials in here. There's also multi UV one too. But if you want more real time, you can utilize reflection probes and the new spherical harmonics in regards of like the global lighting that you can change dynamically in a world. In the essentials, actually, there is a tool that Rue made that utilizes both that and spatial variables and reflection probes to make like different sections of a world, and including the cloud home we're in right now, it uses that too, where it changes the lighting only if the actual lighting, or changes the reflections and the global lighting locally depending on where the user is in, and if certain things change, like the lighting of the sun. And yeah, within the, let me turn on my, actually, smooth POV, graphic UI. In the Resonite Essentials, under Tools, if you go to Custom, there is a dynamic reflection probe system. Now, I know Rue has created this. You probably go over much more depth than me, there is documentation of how this thing works that comes with it on its own too. And this little switch right here toggles on and off the full real-time reflection probe that just follows the user where you are. It does have a cost though in performance, but it allows for the most realistic lighting that you can have in here. But if I go into the system here that's already installed and turn on the debug visuals, you can see there's different zones here. And so far, we can use spheres and boxes for uh, not dynamic reflection probes, but like spatial variables. There we go. Even though the reflection probes themselves are only boxes, the sphere ones just takes the bounding box or just the bounding box of the reflection probe based off of the sphere, and therefore you're only worrying about the reflections and global illumination changing depending on where you are in these spheres or boxes. Me some water here. Open up one of these here. Yeah, you can see a list of the static and real-time ones here. Hmm. What's one of these have? Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, you can see the value copies, sphere mesh. You can adjust the values that it uses. Copy over for the ambient lighting. It should definitely help. A good rule of thumb is also know about how shadows really impact performance. Usually it's good to have like say like a few to get like good looking lighting like here with the sunlight over things like lamps and such. Don't necessarily need it because it only shows like for a certain range, but you can make it so that it turns on and off the shadows of lighting using things like distance checks or collision detection or spatial variables where you can turn on and off the shadows. As you can see, I turned on the shadows of that. You got hard shadows, is more cheaper than soft shadows. Of course, the cheapest would be none. And ranging from type of expensive, least expensive stuff, you got uh, least expensive, which would be a spotlight, which is just only showing light in one direction that you can change its spotlight cone angle, its intensity, etc. You got a point light, it's the most expensive, which is like putting light in all six directions of like a cube, as well as the directional light, which is somewhere in between. That basically eliminates the whole scene. One thing that also judges its amount of performance cost too is its range. I have two spotlights on my eyes. As you can see, it kind of glows on my hand here so that I have like a glowing effect on my eyes. They don't have that much range. It's much cheaper. Say if I had like point lights on these little glowing spots on these crystals, but the range is like going up to like zero point 0.2 meters. You have like 20 of them. They're pretty cheap. It's because it's only affecting the meshes that it's glowing on. Now it would be the same thing with the spotlight. Now with the directional light, it doesn't matter regards of range. It just goes through anything unless if you have shadows. You can also change the resolution of the shadows as well too, which just determines how sharp or pixelated or how detailed the shadows are. But yeah, it's all in all, it just depends on A, how you set up the components and such, and B, how you have those components enable or disable, or when you use them or when you don't use them is a really good, important thing to know. Because that way, you can save on performance in certain cases while also improving fidelity. Now, we have a question from Modify ARG. By any chance, could you make a very small icon change when you have a chance? It's a GitHub issue number 60, and this would help a lot with new users getting confused with the World Info UI. I'd have to see the GitHub issue and see what kind of icons I would have to, or changes that would have to be. Plus, I would have to see how I can uh, do it the same style that Chroma has. It's like with badges, we can have at least a bit more deviation regards of what kind it is, but or at least with those kinds of icons. I know there's ones that I've made that is like temporary technically because all the badges and icons in general that aren't like event badges in particular do need a rework. And there's definitely plenty of icons that are not even present yet. So that's like a whole project of its own. So it's like, yeah, also kind of goes under like the thing of like priority. I forgot need to turn off the UI with the world, not UI, but debug visuals. There we go. Definitely gonna have some chicken noodle soup tonight. Should help with the congestion. There's a couple more things I could showcase from the update as well too. Well, one of them I don't really know if I can even do that on my avatar, for example. Is like it's a feature called separate blend shape into static mesh. What it does, it separates the part of the model that is affected by a blend shape in particular. And that is really good for avatars that have blend shapes that are or props, for example, or clothing. And if people want to separate those out into its own like models, they could now directly in Resonite. As in other platforms, they use blend shapes to turn on and off different aspects of an avatar, whether it be clothing, accessories, or items or props. Down here, you don't necessarily need to do that, so it just gives another tool for users to not have to use it and basically make it in a more proper way by changing it into a separate mesh. Ooh. Oh. I hope everybody's day has been going well. And yeah, pretty much probably about an hour the stream ends. Doing a lot of work with the team for uh, like business related things as well. It's gonna be quite busy. Question from Tom Tam. Keep on wanting to say Tim Tam, but no, Tom Tam. Are the Resonite assets available somewhere outside of the game, or are they intended to be used inside Resonite? Well, this is a good question. I think I did answer it a few times before. I'm okay with answering it again. Part of it is uh, available, but it's already outdated with the things that we've made now. And the problem is the fact that it's outdated already, and I have to go through and maintain it by constantly updating it with new things we make. Because we use like some setup with a Blender asset library in order to make things quite fast with the system that we got. Got like uh, shared materials, shared textures, and even shared models in a more rare chance. But yeah, usually it's set up to kind of mimic how we also make things in here, that kind of system. But we want to, once we have like the capability and the infrastructure, it'll be great to have it available somewhere. Maybe the wiki, maybe the maybe a link to the next cloud or something that we have. Because like we'll have to separate it between the stuff that we're still working on and the stuff that we're comfortable releasing already. So, and we do have another additional person be joining us. Wondering where they were. A Ru Shen will be joining us, another art team member. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question though. You do want to make it more easier to obtain, to distribute, but under Resonite Essentials assets, Resonite assets, there's a raw source files that exist there, including a README about it. Also, hello, Ru. Well, let me get you to broadcast and make sure my volumes are up. You sound a bit quiet on my end. Okay, now say something.
Hello. I'm gonna be a tiny bit quiet. Let me see if I can fix it.
Now he should be audible, but he's still a bit quiet. I wonder if it's on my end.
No, it's definitely on my
Okay, I'm gonna put it back down before I blast people's ears.
end.
Alright, gotta clean up here a little bit. Kinda going over the new features. You know that texture packer that Ravi was working on is finally in
Oh, nice.
and
That's gonna
unpacked.
make it a lot easier to do everything.
Oh yeah, don't have to help people or just like take these textures outside and just convert them in GIMP or Photoshop or whatnot. You just do them in here. One, two, done. Less than a minute. Steam Deck noises. You mean they just reuse the same noises as the Steam VR? Like they also reuse the Steam controller turning on and off for the index controllers. I wonder if they're the same thing for the Steam frame controllers. Also, Gabe Newell, please give Fruks a Steam frame at this point, please.
There you go. Am I a little bit louder now?
Yeah, you sound good.
I don't know why, but every once in a while, Windows will just like lower the microphone volume. It won't say that it did, but if I open sound settings and look at it like a quirk, it'll just flip and say, "Okay, it's working now."
Microslop for you. There's a question for both of us, actually. Since you're here too. From Modify ARG, do you use a specific version of Blender or just the latest?
I
Yes,
always use the latest.
I have to use specific versions for specific add-ons, but otherwise I try to use the latest.
Yeah, I actually run the one through Steam, and I have since like 2019, especially for working on this platform because for whatever reason, and Aegis can attest to this. When I use the non-Steam version, I always get really weird glitches. Uh, some that like just don't even make sense. It's been like that throughout the years.
It's likely that they're using like the most stable version for each Blender version on Steam.
Yeah. I don't know, but it would be crazy. Like just like a shader would work differently between our blenders, or um, like importing textures would work, or sometimes not work, or baking things would provide different results.
Part of me thinks that might be drivers, or at least like a couple of those, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Either way, running it through Steam just fixes it. So yeah. Plus, it keeps it up to date automatically. One of the things that people worry about is like when you update your Blender, sometimes you worry about like settings and stuff. But you can save the settings and then just import them to Blender later on, even the start file. So
yeah. The versions that I usually use or have on hand is 2.79, because I know there's definitely some esoteric add-ons that I need to convert files from one engine to another, or some very old add-on that still needs to be updated over the very least 2.8. I've had 2.8 because it was an add-on that only works at 2.8 or 2.9 or something, at least up to then, as they added a thing in 3.0 sometime that changes some of the models to work with like mesh attributes, as it's called, instead of like mesh properties or whatnot. It kind of broke a few things. And then I
Mm-hmm.
have like the latest, and then sometimes I get like the very latest alpha build to see what is new. So it's like 4 or 5 different versions of Blender at this point. Like,
Honestly, if people are still running some of the older versions of Blender, I do highly recommend giving some of the newer ones a try. Especially if all that's stopping you is like layout and control stuff, because those are all customizable. It's got a lot of really nice features, and it runs a lot better in a lot of cases. So it's pretty nice.
yeah, some of the update cycles they've been doing has been optimizing the program
Yeah.
itself. And yeah, things like making it better running on things like Vulkan makes it much more faster. Or even lower end computers as well too. Or even mobile devices, which is crazy. Like they're wanting to get this thing running on like a Android like tablet or like an iPad tablet, which would be insane to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just gotta put this out here. This add-on is incredibly vital for the model workflow that we use.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Everything you see here, including like my armor, I use this add-on to
It's what helps make
properly do
a
the
lot of the trim
trims.
sheet stuff too, because
Yep.
then we can take like a complicated UV map, square it out, and then just align it's so nice.
As well as combining this with text tools that Ravi has modified to add like some shortcuts to it. And another add-on too in regards of UV mapping, though it's not used for our workflow for this stuff, but it's used for stuff that is for baking things in particular. I used it for the item that I did showcase earlier. Uh, it's called a UV Packmaster Pro, and what it does, it uses a machine learning algorithm to efficiently pack UV islands together in a square or rectangle or whatever shape you want it to be. It'll rotate these UV islands, which are like these pieces of the model that are cut open and laid out flat on a texture surface, and it'll do it efficiently. And yeah, you can even overlap the like repetitive pieces on top of each other if they're sharing the same shape and texture. And that's incredibly useful. Some other workflows that we've used. And probably trying to think of any other like add-ons off of the top of my head. Baker Node. Baker Node is one of the engineers, Cyro, the Resonite team, has recommended to quite a few people, and I'll also recommend it too because what it does, it makes a shader node within your uh, Blender shader editor thing, and you can bake textures much faster with it by just simply plugging in what you want to bake onto a texture. You set the name to it, where it's being saved to, resolution, etc., and hit bake. Boom, done. Also, I'd probably still put the samples to 0 if you're baking textures. 1, not 0. It has to be a sample of 1. But
There was a
yeah,
there was an add-on that I was using that was really helpful um, for like remeshing things. But I cannot remember what it was called. It had recently gone free as well, which was really awesome.
you
Um,
find the link. You said it's free. I would
yeah,
like it.
yeah. Basically, so Blender has a kind of built-in version of this called Remeshify, I believe it's called. And that one's really nice if you just want to take an object and retopologize it uh, into like uniform squares, but it's not really like anything crazy. It's just uniform squares for the most part. But the one that I'm talking about, it would take a mesh and remesh it based on like how avatars are set up. So the flow of the quads would be more um, in terms of like an organic structure or like you would see on an avatar rather than just uniform squares. Um, that was really helpful when making stuff, especially like clothing.
Remembered an add-on that Ravy told me about. I forgot the name of it, and I need to find it. It is
Oh,
a
it's called Q Remeshify, I believe.
you remeshify.
Yeah. So we have like a little list of like add-ons that we use, and we have like a folder called Team Resources. This one's like specifically for Blender, and we like our team and some of the other team members. We just throw a lot of the stuff that are helpful or we think would be helpful into that folder, so that we don't forget them. And that's where I put it, so I don't forget.
And there was a oh, there's gotta be
I mean, you might have put it in there, Aegis, if you want to look in the Team Resources folder.
for the one that Ravy recently showed me. I don't think so yet, but it was a $25 add-on that allows you to create like realistic sky scenes or HDRIs, and it like rivaled some software that like I used to create, for example, the clouds in the skybox. And for context, the the program that was used to make like the clouds for the skybox is called Terrigen Sky. Now, in order for me to make these clouds, I had to make a HDR, like a 360 image all around the place, and like uh, take a picture of it from either above or below, depending on which cloud layer I'm doing, and just remove all the other cloud layers except for the ones that I'm going to make like a texture for it. Then I export it out as a equirectangular image and do a lot of editing in GIMP to not only cut off the other half of the bottom of it because it's just like a dark, um, like I guess a void on the bottom, so I can get rid of it, turn it into just a black and white image by kind of taking the sky blue and turning it into a transparent part of the image, and then adjust its resolution and all that, and some more edits here and there to get it more visible, and then bring it in here, do all these other things in order to set up the different cloud layers. And that program, by the way, it's about like $300 now. Like 2 days ago, learning there's a thing for $25 that can do it with even like isolating the clouds and stuff. It's like, okay, gee. wish I knew that existed. But hey, I will go over the process of how that works too. If somebody has Terrigen Sky, too, may as well document uh, that journey. Because a lot of the stuff that we do, I want to figure out how to document it, whether it be on the wiki or videos. Probably wiki first because it's easier to write things down for me.
So
Yeah,
I found the link for it. So like this is the GitHub link. This is a showcase of the uh, model. So the one that is in the triangles, that is the original model. Um, on the like the bluish one, that is Remeshify, which is the default Blender plugin. As you can see, it's default uniform squares, right? It tries its best to just make squares. That's it. Hue Remeshify is in the center where it preserves like the shape of the object and then just makes the quads in that kind of shape. So it's really good for that kind of thing, but not as good for something where you want it to be uniform squares. So they're both really good. It's just that like if you want to do anything like avatar clothing based, definitely Hue Remeshify is going to help out there.
so not only it turns the triangles into quads, it actually tries its best to get like the
Mm-hmm.
seams of it.
You can set the density too. So like if you wanted it to be a lower poly, you would just lower the density.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, you used to have to pay for it, and I had bought it before, but they recently went free and they set it up for open source and they made a GitHub board and everything. So pretty cool.
Hue Remeshify. And notice a new question here too. But yeah, I will next probably stream. I'll bring up that cloud based one because you should
Mm-hmm.
know about it too. Because like it looks really nice, and we could probably just make some really nice skyboxes for people in honestly short amount of time. This question is from Satan Dub. This over here for a little bit. I saw some time ago you were using some brainwaves reading tech in Resonite. Have you done anything more with it? You find it useful for something? What did you think about it? So what you're talking about is the uh, brainwave reading device that I've ordered a while ago called the Muse 2. It's simply like a kind of a thin metal band with a plastic casing and like a battery and a Wi-Fi wireless Bluetooth connection that takes just readings off of a brass metal plate of what it reads off of your brainwaves on your forehead. It does its best to read a lot of it. Also has like a built-in heart rate sensor in it. It's probably not as good as a actual heart rate monitor. Making getting one of those sometime. But if you probably train the data or something, you probably get better results. It's off
Yeah,
of your
with
own.
those things, you need to wear it for a while and like record the data. That way, it gets more accurate. Um, and like that goes for a lot of brain interface type stuff because everyone's brainwaves are different and each
Yeah,
device operates differently. Needs a lot of data sets. There was a big panel that we had made that showed like the different wave functions.
I can find that
And
real
we
quick.
hooked it up to Aegis at one point. And some people in the medical field or people who wanted to do like studies on people's
Sorry.
reaction to content like in a virtual space like for therapeutic purposes and stuff we're kind of interested in it because then they can see someone's physical response like in real time um,
Oh,
and being able to
sorry.
monitor stuff like that while a therapist is setting up a virtual environment to help someone. Um, like that's some stuff that people were interested in, or like even some research type based stuff based around that. But yeah,
Okay, I'm no longer dying.
especially since you can kind of record the data in here, right?
Yeah.
And then export it now.
Uh, yeah, this is the panel that he's talking about. This is one that Ravi has created.
Oh, thank you
Ah,
for the subscription.
thank you for subscribing. Element no. We are in the know. And as you can see, it already has data running right now. But that data is not the brainwave data, it's actually my eye tracking data with a Vive Pro Eye. So it has like the left and right eye openness as well as the pupil dilation of each eye. As you can see, it has heart rate stuff that the Muse 2 supports, and all the different brainwaves in a combined brainwave thing. So far, I've been able to use like brain, or I guess thought concentration or so, to kind of drive this up and down at will, or like a couple of those, and or mostly at will. And I've used that to make like magic effects. I do have like unfinished effects on my character at the moment. Go to. Is it? Is it even? Actually, it's not even like installed on my avatar. I'm gonna just install it real quick. Yeah, it's installed now. Oh yeah, I have the variable separated. Let's see here. There we go. So I would like do that. Activate like a special ability, and then kind of like in Destiny or so, I would have like it do something specific for like my revolver, where it would create like a powered shot every time this uh, boolean was activated by the Muse 2.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep these on. I rarely do see it right now. Yeah. Definitely more devices like this would be pretty neat to see in here.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's
There's
a
a lot of
couple.
people in.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's a lot of people both in the academic and medical field that are interested in real time stuff like that, not just in for VR, but for general use as well. Um, the VR one is nice because then you can have people that do like remote, like doctor visit stuff or therapy stuff, be able to just kind of tell what's going on with the patient a little bit more than if they
Mm-hmm.
would just be on like a webcam because they can see kind of how the person is moving, how their body's reacting.
And even
Um,
if they're like not in VR, they could have that device and have things change within the program of what they're seeing, and then like people who are studying that data, they can look at that.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. Ah, okay. Here's an important question, follow-up question from Qualatorium: is the Muse 2 comfortable to wear with a VR headset? Uh, that is actually a good question right now, because I do have a different face gasket a little bit on my Vipro Eye, but with ones that were still available. Apparently, there's no more like third-party ones nowadays. Uh, but with a normal VR cover or third-party or even a default uh, headset cover or like face foam, it's fine because it rests just above it, and I'm using actually a what's it called? A not a Pico, but a Pimax third-party face cover that just fits perfectly on here. But it has a bit of excess material that kind of goes over the Velcro straps, but it's just fine. So I haven't tried it with that in particularly yet. It probably won't work, but yeah, I haven't tried it with a. I think I tried it with the Quest Pro. I'd have to do that again, but I could do that. I'll have to see how that works. So also one thing I wanted to mention earlier too is that there's a couple other models too. There's one where it's like a soft padded like headband that has only the metal parts exposed and then the plastic parts on the outside. It's not like you're wearing a pair of glasses as well. Now, just thinking about it too, the band might not work with me using other head like a regular pair of headphones on this headset because I just uninstalled the Vipro audio stuff because it didn't. The contacts are wearing off on this thing. Steep frame save me.
I mean, at least in terms of like comparing a lot of the different options for those things, I think that one is one of the more reliable type ones, and like we actually know it works inside of Resonite. So, uh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably take a look at what else is there, but it would likely fit a normal Vibe Pro, Vibe Pro I, and Vibe Pro 2 with normal-ish base gasket. With the Quest Pro, I'm gonna have to go back on you for that. Or Quest 1, I think I still have it somewhere. Could also
I mean, the
work with
Quest
that.
Pro has a pretty big like forehead kind of pad because it just sits like that. At least if you use the
Oh, now
generic
thinking
like
about
head
it, that
strap.
might be an issue.
Yeah, like I don't think it'll work with the Quest Pro just because of that. Unless you have I think it's called the Halo strap for it, like the one that's a little different. Um, but yeah, because the Quest Pro just kind of like squeezes the front and back of your head rather than actually having a strap that goes over the top.
You have a Quest 2. Eye tracking stable? Wait, you modified your Quest 2 to have eye tracking? Quest 2 by default doesn't have one.
Hmm.
Do they sell kits for that? If they do, that's actually pretty cool. But, eye track VR for it. Oh, nice. So it's a custom build. Actually, speaking of like open source tracking software, Babel, I'm gonna be getting the actual Babel tracker at some point. They actually started shipping mine, which is pretty cool. Though it would probably take a bit. It's coming from Europe.
Mm-hmm. By the way, it's like 6:10.
Ah, thank you for reminding me. But yeah,
Yep.
it was a good time to end it on. So, hope everyone has a good evening or morning, depending on where you are. And have a
Thank y'all
good
for
one.
coming out.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Oh, don't forget the panel.
Oh, yeah. Last
Throw
thing
that up there real quick.
to bring out to streaming and bye.
Thank you to all these supporters for your support, so that we
Yes.
can keep making this platform great.
There's many, many more supporters than just these. These are just the highest. Otherwise, it'd be a whole wall, a literal wall of text. We could do that. See us next time. Check out the uh, calendar for all the different info of the office hours, and usually we'll be on Wednesdays for the art team office hours, and look on YouTube for the VOD, and tune into the forums in Discord for asking questions there ahead of time.
The times are also on Discord as well in the events.
Yes. You all have a good one. Whoa.